Like, why did he have to come and die? Well, let's talk about why did Jesus have to come and die. Genesis chapter 4, remember Cain and Abel. It's the first time blood is spilled on the earth after the creation. Cain is offended with Abel because Abel had a better sacrifice. So he goes and he kills him, and his blood is spilled on the ground, and Abel dies. I love this. The Lord comes to Cain and says, "Where is your brother? For his blood is crying out to me from the earth." So the first thing you have to understand about blood is blood speaks to God. It has a voice, right? So Abel's blood is crying out to God from the ground. God hears it, and God goes to Cain and says, "I'm hearing something cry out to me from the ground." As you go throughout Scripture, you'll read in the law, the Lord continues to tell man, "You shall not eat anything." You can't eat flesh with blood in it because the life is in the blood. You keep seeing this phrase over and over in the Old Testament. This is why we've got to know the Bible, because the whole thing is shouting the gospel. So you can't consume anything in your body that has live blood in it, because it says the life is in the blood. No animal, nothing with living blood. So Jesus wasn't coming to fulfill some gruesome ritual. Jesus was coming to pour the life of God back into man, because the life is in the blood. So he comes and he spills his blood, not to fulfill some crazy religious ritual and requirement, but because the only way for God to get life inside of man was life had to come by blood. Like if you bring blood down to its smallest molecule, they would call it congealed light. It's what scientists found. So here comes Jesus, and the scriptures tell us in John chapter 1 that he is the light that lighteth every single man. He gave us, through the cross, this blood transfusion. He put his life back into us. And what does blood do? Blood carries the oxygen all over my body to keep me alive. So I believe from the moment he breathed into Adam, blood filled him. And now you've got this whole storyline of God goes, I got to get the right blood back in them. So he spilled his blood, and then he says crazy things like, "Now eat my flesh." Bro, in John 6, scholars would say 15,000 people are following Jesus. And he waits till the biggest point in his ministry to say the most offensive things. He is not interested in building his ministry. He's interested in finding those who love him. So he turns around and he starts yelling at them, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood." Now you got to understand, what the Pharisees are hearing is he's telling us to break the law, because it says you cannot eat the flesh with blood in it. So here's, not only is he saying something disgusting, but he's telling us to break the law. And what Jesus is shouting at them is, "I'm the atonement. I'm the sacrifice. Come and eat my flesh and drink my blood," not because it's some gruesome ritual, but because I will be the source of your life. And so if I actually believe that he died, that he shed his blood on the tree, and God poured his life into man, and then he tells me that I can eat his flesh and drink his blood and still have the nerve to think that I'm disgusting, still have the nerve to think I'm a sinner, we have disregarded the life of God and what he actually came to pour into man.